Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and this is more in the line of just a discussion of what Holyoke means.
And so today he'll be talking about the Wayfinders Library Commons affordable housing. So how has the Library Commons area been developed?
All right, through a Community Preservation Act, they've been able to develop this area. And we're going to talk about what can be done in this area besides just this place, and we're going to talk about the new historic district that this is in, that actually the Wayfinders got started. And then also we're going to talk about how the area has changed the past 10 or 20 years. But most importantly, how has the Library Commons area been developed? Well, they took the Carlson, the Randolph, and the former Providence Hospital's nursing school, and they bundled them all together. They didn't take the Barlow because the Barlow was burned about 10 years ago. And so they took the three buildings that were still there. They built a new building in the place where the Barlow used to be, and they made a new housing development. And they did a great job. They're changing them over. It was a lot of work. I would see the men working here constantly, but it was well worth it, and it looks beautiful. The Carlson, Randolph, and the hospital, nursing hospital, has a better look to all the floors of them. It has now hundreds of people living inside them, which is great. So it took a blighted area, and that little bit of area on the corner of Essex and Chestnut is now in better shape, and that's made it better for all. So I'm very proud of Wayfinders. This is their biggest project they ever had in Holyoke. And so I'm glad that they have done this, and maybe they can do more in the future.
What else can be done in this area?
Okay, so in this area, there's many buildings that still need work. There's the Essex right across the street from the Wayfinders development. And it could also be called part of Library Commons. By Library Commons, they always took their name to mean anything that was close to the library or the library park. And so they wanted to develop the whole area around there, make buildings as rehabbed upwards. If they're abandoned, get them going again. And there's much to be said about the Library Commons area. For instance, the Lighthouse Holyoke School is coming into the Sons of Zion Synagogue. They bought them out, and they're going to develop not only the project there, the building, but also around it, they're going to build a parking lot and a garden. They've already announced that. They put in parking lots and a couple of spaces for for the library, for instance, and for a school that's on Maple Street. And what else should be developed? Well, across from the Carlson and the Randolph, there's an empty lot where there used to be two old buildings that burned within maybe about 10 or 20 years ago. And they left there an empty lot, which never a good thing. And so if you develop that a little bit, then this whole area will keep getting better and better and better. As you expand outwards, there's still an empty lot around where the Perpetual Help Church used to be. And so getting that going would be great, too.
So before we continue with the rest of our interview, we want to fill in our listeners that if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find both videos of his various stops along each tour, and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they're perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for your special occasions and group parties, are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, this development has led to the Essex Street Historic District. Does it need another historic district?
Yes. Well, let me tell you about this Essex Street Historic District. It starts at the corner of Essex and Chestnut, It goes up 3 blocks along Essex Street to the west. And so when it crosses Elm Street, Walnut Street, and Pine Street, and it most of the time stays along the buildings of Essex Street, but along a couple of buildings along the way, it goes in with like Walnut Street to the north. It includes that. So all the buildings that are bordered along this Essex Street segment are now part of a new historic district, which is the 14th National Register entry for Holyoke and the 6th historic district within Holyoke itself. Does it need another one? I always thought that they should put one around the whole library common area, including a half block on each of the 4 cardinal directions. So what I mean is the library in its park, and then one half a block to the west, which would include the other side of Chestnut Street, which has a Masonic Temple and the Presbyterian Church and the Essex. And then one block, half block south, which would include the Lawrence School, which is on Cabot Street, and then one half block towards the east, which includes the Maplewood, the Sons of Zion, the ATT building, and also include the 9 row houses on Maple Street, and then one half block to the north direction, which would include the former Elks building. And if you do this, this is a historic district, which would be beautiful. Now, people tried to get the library only onto a district itself, or a place itself, a National Register, but they didn't like the modern look to the addition that was put in 10 years ago. But as a whole district, with all these elements together, there'd be a great complement to this new Essex Street Historic District. And so I wish that someone did this. About 5 years ago, I told the Masonic Temple they want to do it for their own building. Why don't you do it for the whole block? And then your proposal would be accepted a lot quicker. And so, yes, Holyoke does need a 15th entry on the National Register, and there'll be a new district that will touch the Essex Street Historic District. It turns out the Maplewood by itself is already on the National Register, so that would be a single entry in part of a historic district.
And so, has this area gotten safer since its development?
All right. So, the Wayfinders program to put in the library common affordable housing changed not only the 3 buildings there greatly, but it's changed the whole area a little bit because there's more lighting around, there's more use to buildings that were once blighted and abandoned, and the churches get more active. The other buildings around are being filled up with both institutions or if they're apartments with residents. And so this has helped greatly. Also, there's more lighting available. The library itself was developed 9 years ago in the back section. So to have all these things put in very nicely, it's made it somewhat safer. Holyoke, of course, right around this area used to have probably the worst part of Holyoke. It was very scary even to go out for a walk then. And sure, there's still trouble around Holyoke, but it's more dissipated, it went off to other sections. And even though the other sections be fixed up, and you can get everything to be a lot better than it is right now. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. You can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in.